A very good morning to all of you, our lovely viewers on SOATV. Welcome to Reality Divine Women's Show, a show that is entirely meant to mold, impact, and make you become the best version of a woman that God intended you to be. Good morning, good morning, good morning, wherever you're watching me from. Karibu sana, 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 sana. You're watching me from on your way to work, you're welcome. You're watching me from the office already, you are welcome. You're watching me from the comfort of your living room, you're welcome. Karibu sana to Reality Divine Women's Show, a program that is entirely all about women and building the woman to become the best version that God intended for you to become. This lovely day, I'm here on set once again to bring you a show that I love. I call it Scars to Stars. It is a testimonial show whereby I am on set with someone who has a testimony of where God has brought them through. And before we began the show, I was just speaking to my guest and she told me that everyone has a story. True. And this guest this morning has a wonderful story that I want you to grasp something out of it. And the most important bit of it is that you need to be hopeful. Without hope in this life, you can never go any further. Hope is what makes you lie down and wake up tomorrow hoping that life will become much better for you. So karibu sana. Please make sure you grab your cup of tea. Make sure you grab your cup of uji. You make sure you grab your cup of your glass of juice this morning and sit back and relax, because Reality Divine is here to make you, to entertain you also and to make you know that God is on your side. I usually say that every new dawn of the day that God gives you is a sure sign that He has enabled you to make your life much, much better. So go forth, make this day count in the records of your life and destiny. Karibu sana, karibu sana. Please call someone, tell someone Pastor Julie is on set with Reality Divine Scars to Stars segment. And I'd like you to put your hands together and welcome with me, my guest on set, Damaris.
Yes.
Karibu sana. She's clapping for herself. So why don't we do it for her? She's a charming, beautiful lady, young lady with a story already where she is. God has already given her, picked her out. And I believe she's a star in the making, if not already. So karibu sana Damaris.
Asante sana Pastor Julie.
Lovely to have you on set.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here today. I'm so happy. Yes.
Yeah, karibu sana. We always love guests.
Yes.
In Sound of Abundance Church, we love guests. SOATV, we love guests. Reality Divine, we celebrate guests. And so having you on set with us this morning is absolutely thrilling. And we are happy to hear what God did to you, what God has been doing with you, and what God made you pass through to be where you are this morning. So kindly, very quickly, just introduce to us who Damaris is in your own words.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for having me. I'm so honored to be here.
Yes.
My name is Damaris Kimani. In full, Damaris Modoni Kimani. But I love Damaris Kimani so much. Kimani is not my husband, he's my dad. I had to
thank you
about that. Yeah. So I am a gospel minister, recording artist. For that case, I am an inspirational speaker.
Wow.
I am a CEO at Most Loved Initiative. It's an organization that deals with the less fortunate. I focus so much with the street kids. Generally, I do events in rehabilitation centers. That's where my main focus is so much. But I'm planning to expand in children's home and maybe prison, God willing. And what else? I'm a fashion commercial model.
Wow.
And what else? And a missionary. Yes, because I just love doing God's work. I think that's where I am, and that's where my purpose is.
Wow.
Yes.
And that bio is already almost clocking 7 minutes.
Yes.
They say that if your bio is clocking to 7 minutes, you're doing well.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I love the passion that you have in you know, in the lives of people.
Yes.
You know, you've mentioned that you've talked a bit wider on how you're dealing with people, especially the street kids. You'll tell us why along the Scars to Stars program, why the street kids, why children's home, why the prison and all that.
Yes.
But I'm glad anyone that is planted where people are is someone who is meant to go far.
Yes.
And your bio is beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm encouraged to you know, to hear such a young life, so deeply rooted in helping people's lives become much better.
Amen.
Yeah, so today we are here because you have a story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Scars to Stars is all about story. Is all about life stories of people, what they have gone through, and how they have been raised up to become the stars. That, you know, through their scars, you know, the stars that God has brought out of them.
Yes.
So you have a story.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'd like you to take us through that story.
Yes.
Yeah. How was Damaris? Where do you come from? If you don't mind mentioning where you come from in Kenya. How was your childhood? How many are you?
Yes.
Yeah. Just kindly take us through.
Well, so as you have said, myself, growing up, it wasn't that sweet journey that everybody or every child desires to have in a family setup.
Yeah.
But looking at it right now to where I am, I always thank God for my scars. I always thank God for where I was, like in that pit, like where Joseph, I always thank God.
That's right.
So beginning of my story, in a family, we're a family of 4. I'm the second born. We have 2 boys, 2 girls. So I was born and raised in a place called Umoja. So currently we're living in Kayole. So in Umoja, we have this beautiful setup of a mom, dad, siblings, living so well, so happy, you know, eating nyama pamoja, githeri, and all those kind of things that a family does together, and all that kind of stuff. So my mom used to have a business for selling githeri, mahindi chemsha, and it was doing so well because of where we were living at that time. And my dad used to be a driver, used to work with a certain circle in Umoja, and they were all doing well. So at some point, my dad, yes, he used to drink, but it wasn't that too much, to a point it used to affect his work. But this time, I don't know what went wrong. Let me say, it's just the way they say the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy.
That's right.
And when he gets you, that's it. So this thing happened to my dad, and every time he used to drink, it was too much. It was excessively, to a point of he used to now become so much violent. And you know, I don't know, I know someone who has come from a violent home, they can relate. Your dad comes in, and even if he gets a sahani there or anything, like he'll just create a war in that
for a mistake.
You know, he'll just create a war in that place, and it will be war. So that's how my dad changed, and he became this violent man, from a very good man, from a very loving father. You know, he became so violent. And at that point, when all that started happening, we never had peace. That's where the devil grabbed up. I think I was somewhere class 4 there. Yes. So watching all these things and starting experiencing these things at that particular age,
very young, it
was so crazy. And so I remember, at least our firstborn was not so much present. So I was like, you know, after my mom, he used to be in the village. That's where he used to study, and at some point lived there. So we are here with my other siblings, and you know, I'm experiencing how my dad is coming, abusing my mom, you know, fighting and all that kind of thing. And you know, used to live in a single room. It was a mabati house. So every time I used to witness my mom being beaten to a point of like she's almost losing her life, I never wanted to see that picture. So every time my dad started beating her up, I used to run and hide somewhere, and even, you know, like block my ears, because it was so crazy to hear my mom shouting and crying for help. And yet even the neighbors used to fear my dad, because they were like, hey, we cannot go to defend that woman. This man is so crazy. We might end up even being killed there or being beaten up. So it was it was a worse scenario.
I know.
And so growing up with this thing, every time I used to go to school, I used to go to school to a school called Kifaru Primary School in Umoja. So every time I used to go to class, even the focus, that still really, because you're in class and then you're hearing sounds of your mom, you know, crying, and then you're like, is she safe? Where she is right now? Is she beaten up? What is happening? Like, you know, you even lose concentration
God
in
forbid,
class.
will I find her dead?
Yes, exactly. So we kept on with that life, and every time I thought it will come to an end, it never. Every time, every day it used to grow and becoming worse and worse and worse. So as time used to go by, I remember there was this one night, my dad comes. I remember it was around 2 a.m. I never forget this. I always remember them like it was yesterday. So this time I'm helping my mom kutoa mahindi, kuchagua maharagwe for her business. Because now she used to wake up very early in the morning, like 4 a.m. to wekelea and all that. So this time I remember we had misplaced the key to our gate. So my dad comes and is banging the gate from outside, you know, everybody could know when my dad is around, you know, and he's outside there, he's talking all those kind of crazy words. He's like, hey, you don't want to open the gate for me, what are you doing, oh blah blah blah. And I'm telling you, you know, unaona venye kids, baba akiwa tu present unaanzanga kuchemka, you know now it's about to go down. Akitana tu unaamka hata kama ni kwa ndoto, you know. So this time I knew like this time, you know, you're even tensing, you're shaking because you know whatever is going to happen next after opening the gate, it's crazy. And I tell you, that night the unexpected happened. So my dad comes in and then immediately he starts beating up my mom. So you wanted me to be stolen outside, you wanted me this and this to happen to me, why are you not opening the gate for me? And he didn't want to understand or even know you had misplaced it. We had to wake up the neighbor actually that time, you know, to borrow the key. So it was bad because I remember after beating my mom up, everything that we had prepared, and you know my mom used to buy things in bulk. You know, when she used to go to Soko, if it's charcoal, she used to buy it with a whole sack of charcoal. If it's mahindi and marago, everything in bulk. So I tell you, this time, everything we had prepared, the whole stock, he took them, poured outside. Both maharagwe, both mahindi, everything that we had prepared for that, everything. Inje. The nyungus, the big nyungus that I used to prepare githeri and everything, he took trying to destroy. You know, like he destroyed everything. He took the sack of charcoal, full, very big sack of charcoal.
My God.
Akaekelea after a stove, he burnt it down, everything.
Where was he doing all those things? Yes.
So it is that is happening. We cannot control it. So we were just seated there crying and watching as everything is happening.
My God.
So at that point, that's when my mom's business was done, completely done with that one night. And so I remember after that happened, now to a point, my dad, they couldn't now host him again at the workplace because they were like, this guy is drinking, unajua tu mambo na pombe, you have hangovers, you cannot be able to wake up on time. So akakuwa amevutwa kazi. So after amevutwa kazi, he's here now every time, I come a routine, drinking, coming, violent, nini. And then at some point, he just went and we couldn't, you know, access him anymore.
He disappeared.
Yes, now from responsibilities. My mom is not at work, he's not at work, so we are there. We're supposed to have school fees, you're supposed to eat. You know, life has to move on.
Where did he go to? Did he have Mpango?
We had no idea at this particular point.
He disappeared for how long?
I think it was a month or two, I don't know. It was somewhere there because I remember during this time a lot of things happened and we had to adjust now to another lifestyle. Because ilifika place, the landlady came, she was like, I cannot host you anymore, you guys have not paid my rent. And anyone who has been chased, yani mtu yote ametolewa vitu na landlord, you know how it feels. Aibu, yani plot mzima, everybody anajuanga huyu mtu amefukuzwa hajalipa nyumba.
Embarrassing.
So embarrassing, you know, having guys to come and remove things, you know, with no procedure, with nothing. Doesn't want to care if you have a child, where you're going to sleep, that's none of their business. So that happened to us. That time we are trying to trace my dad, we cannot find him. He's not on phone, like he's nowhere to be seen. So my mom called her sister who stays in Rwai. And so she asked her, hey, this and this is happening to me, so can I come with my kids? Can you be able to host me for some time as we try and see how we can, you know, get back again to our feet? And the sister was like, it's okay, no problem. So you can imagine you're going there with your 3 kids. This sister also has kids, has a husband, you know, and you have gone with nothing, you know, like kama sisi wa Kikuyu, you know, tunajuanga tukienda kwa mtu lazima ubae kasukari, kamkate nini, ama if you're being hosted, you just have to do something. But we nothing, zero. So my mom was feeling like this is actually a burden that we're, you know, planting to my sister. So she decided, I think now we should now move to Ushago. We should go to the village and start a new life there. And so that is what we did. So we went to Ushago, we started a new life there. Of course it was crazy. Juu sasa kama uko Bonta uko na umeishi Ushago aje. You know, umeacha marafiki wako wote, you're going to start a new life there. So that happened and we started a new life there. So my grandmother was there, she was there for us. They found a school for me. I started schooling together with my siblings, Nini. And it was life was good. Life was good there.
At least there was peace.
Yes, there was peace. So now being there, I think we stayed there for a year and a half. And now after this my dad comes and he's like, you know, I'm so sorry that happened, you know, blah, blah, blah. You see how these people are and that kind of thing. I'll never repeat again. And so they sat down together with my grandmother and my mom and they settled it and they were like, it's okay. Now we can take you back in again. So that's when now, when we were coming back, that's when we realized my dad went there. He took the things afterwards that were thrown outside and now he had vacated to Kayole. He had moved to Kayole. So now we come again and we are in Kayole and life
from Moja to Kayole.
Yes, and life begins again there. So still in a single room, we are there, we are like, our family is back on toes, nini. Now remember this time, years zinaenda tu zikienda and now moving from class 4, 5, 6 like that, Evo. So we are here in Kayole and then at some point, you know, now my dad, remember he's not working all this time. My mom also is not working. So kwa hii single room, we didn't have a lot of furnitures. We were just there. Asa tulikuwa tu tuna survive. Let me use that word. So this one time, dad anatumuvisha from a single room to a double room, still at the same apartment. And we are like, oh wow, see God, you know, God is working miracles. Now we are, you know, hatukuwa na TV, tuko na TV, hatukuwa na viti, tuko na viti. You know, we are so excited. Hata sasa unaweza invite watoto majirani wakuje kwenyu, you know. So it was this amazing turn up that we really liked. Yes, all of a sudden.
Wow.
But we never came to think of, by the pesa inatoka wapi. For us, we were like, he's a man, he needs to provide. So whether anaenda kusukuma mkokoteni, sisi bora we are eating and we are living. We just don't care where this money is coming from. So there was this club that my dad used to go to somewhere there in Kayole where we used to live, just around that area.
He was still drinking?
Yes, he was still drinking.
Was it bad like that time or it was?
Yes, as usual. So this watchman comes and he gets to my mom and he's like, you know, I want to tell you that this one has come to my attention and I thought it's okay if I tell you that Mr. Kimani, there is a group that he's working with and that group is well known here in Kayole. It's a group of thugs that they steal people with guns and all that kind of thing. So you are here and you are like, okay, you know, we've just started living large and you are here, you know, enemies of progress. You are here to tell me. You see, watu kiwa successful, they're there like with Illuminati stories. So we're like, these are enemies of progress.
This one now is coming to spoil the party.
Exactly. So we never, mind. Mom never minded about that guy. So
she never took her heed. Never asked your dad?
Never. So we were like, how? And again, you see, it's something that you cannot picture. You know, this guy is just from being a driver. How do you tell me he has transited from being a driver to a thug? You know, it doesn't even make sense. No. So, here we are. And let me tell you, this watchman kept on coming to mom almost every other time.
Okay.
She was like, I know you might not trust me, but one day I want you to come and peep because the club is there. You can peep from afar and you just see the company that he's having. So me and my mom till date, we are very close. We are very best of friends. Like the way you can have something and tell your best friend, this is what I'm going through. That's how we used to, like, that's how we used to live with our mom. So my mom used to tell me everything. She never feared because now we had already gone through the worst. So she was like, in case of anything happens, you just be aware of this. Like, you know, I'll just tell you as it is. So this time my mom wakes me up very early in the morning and she's like, you know, I've heard right now he's in the club. Let's go and peep and see if this thing is the truth, what you're being told. So I remember that early morning, me, I'm there peeping and I'm expecting to see guns on table. You know, I'm expecting to see these gangster people, you know. Because now these are type of things that we see in movies. So me, I'm peeping, I'm struggling, but I'm seeing these people are just drinking. They're just having their life. So this guy, these are just petty rumors.
How old were you that time?
I think I was in somewhere class 7 there, if I'm not wrong. So I was like, huyu mtu tu ni maneno. So because me, I'm not seeing that scenario, the gangster scenario, the way he was portraying it, you know. So we never, mom never hata kushughulika kuuliza sisi huku tuko huku life ina progress, shopping tunafanyiwa, you know, we are living life, nini, we are enjoying. So and then at some point now ikafika, and I remember this one time my dad comes and akasema, I want you to prepare because I'll be having visitors coming. Oh my goodness, I'm telling you, we love visitors. So this time kwanza my mama anakuanga amechangamka. Endea nyeni, endea mahindi, mukimo nini, you know, we have to cook, we have to present ourselves. So we never even wanted to know what type of visitors. For us, we're like, mzee amesema analeta wageni. So let's prepare. We know the rest later. Yes. Pastor Julie, we prepared with joy. With so much passion.
I know. My.
And the visitors came. So let me tell you, my dad is so funny. The introduction was so brief. Oh,
how many were the visitors?
Like 4 of them. I remember it was him, the lady, and now other men. So he's like, huyu anaitwa flani flani, na kwanzia leo nataka respect the way you respect your mom.
Sasa nyinyi mnaambiwa watoto.
Yes. Anaitwa flani flani, and kwanzia leo huyu ni mama yenu mdogo. I want you to respect her as you respect your mom. It was that
mom was brief. Cooking for mama mdogo.
Exactly. Mom was there, I'm telling you. I remember that time she went, alitoka akaenda. Sasa sisi juni watoto. Because you know ilimpata kama shock.
Oh God.
I think for us, haikuwa imetuhit, especially me, haikuwa imenihit kabisa, like the audacity, you know. For me, I was like, this cool, hii ni cool, haina shida. I think sikuwa nimeshikanisha bado ulikuwa mtoto. And again, you know, our culture, it's so funny because even parents, they don't talk to kids like directly. You know, kama hii anakuambia pombe ni you know, they have to twist the academy, you know, just to
wewe acha.
Unaona, acha na hii mambo ya tabia mbaya, but he's not telling you what the tabia mbaya is. So for us, it never hit me. So ilikuja kunihit baadaye. So from there, that's when now my dad akaanza sasa kutoka kuexit tu kwa life yetu pole pole. Now if alikuwa analala home, I remember immediately after that introduction, after some time, that's when he exited completely. So akikuja home alikuwa tu kama mgeni. You know, amekuja, ame-provide, I'm gone. Mko aje, mko poe, anaenda.
Wow, Ebu post hapo first of all.
Yes.
That story is intriguing. I'm certain that you are seated at the edge of your seat, waiting to hear the progression of it. Please, we are going for a short break. Don't touch that dial. Welcome back to Royalty Divine Women's Show on SOATV. And this lovely morning on set, I have with me a beautiful lady by the name Damaris, who is giving us an intriguing story of her life, childhood life that was a drama series. We're saying a whole TV series. Wow. And the program, we call it Scars to Stars, which is a testimonial show whereby we get guests that come on set and they give us their life stories that are from the scars to the stars of their life, helped by God purely. And so Damaris is here on set with me. Once again, put your hands together. welcome her for me as she continues on telling us the story. And if you've missed the first part of the show, please make sure you go on my YouTube channel and watch the whole show right there on Juliet Bernard Akama. Karibu sana once again.
Asante.
Asante.
Yes.
Mukapika nyeni?
Tukapika everything. The introduction was done so briefly. My mom just went off.
Yeah.
Sit tuko hapo trying to digest everything, and that was it, and they went. So I remember.
Did they even eat?
No, I don't think so. Hata sikumbuki, because I think that scenario was just too much to handle at that particular point. And his main course was because I think even my dad, I don't know what he was expecting at that moment. I don't know if he was expecting like, oh, karibu sana, you're welcome.
Seriously?
I don't know how. So I think they went, if I'm not so wrong, because my mom also just went out and So after that, now life ikaanza kumove so quickly. And now at some point when everything started being a little bit off, that's when my mom now started like believing whatever rumors he was getting, and according to whatever she was seeing transpiring now. So at some point now my dad akatuhamisha to that double room, now to a self-contained. So now this is where now we started like questioning, like, by the way, these moves are happening so quick. Unajua, and you don't have an actual job that we know this man is doing. So let me tell you, when we moved to that self-contained house, I think peace was no more.
There was no peace.
I tell you, policemen all the time. Mnakuja mnaambiwa sijui Kimani alikuwa wapi, sijui nini imefanyika. I remember even when it took a lot for my mom to tell me that she had proved that my dad actually has a gun.
She saw it.
Yes.
So the thing
and
the watchman was saying.
Yes. And at some point my dad confessed it to her. So I think akiambia tu alikuwa anaambiwa ile tu weka ukijua mimi ndo nafanyanga, and that's it. Like period. So when my mom told me that, I started picturing movies in my mind.
No, it can't.
Exactly. So I'm trying to imagine my dad akauko amehanda watu wewe tu watu. You cannot even bring it to reality. Now let me tell you, Pastor Julie, I think now that's where trouble began with me, because I started involving myself with bad company. I started being this bad girl, because of whatever was going on at home. And now I think I was really longing and I was really missing that fatherly love, because now us ladies, we are so much connected to our dads.
I know.
The guys are so much connected to the moms. So I'm like, I want this thing, but I cannot be able to get to my dad directly, because akona line karibu 20. So once he communicates with this line and aitupa, he gets to another. So you never get to him until he calls you yourself, najua. So this started happening, and our life began to be like this. Yani ni kama watu wako kwa under investigation, you cannot even make further moves. Unaenda huku mtu tu anakuuliza, you don't know him, they are pretending to be your dad's friend. Hati babako aliendanga wapi, kumbe ni mtu anatumika tu na polisi. So life yangu nikaanza kufeel a lot of fear. And I remember at some point now my mom started warning me, and she was like, usiwahi pigia babako simu kama haja kupigia, usiwahi text, because you never know if you are being tracked and your communication can be used against you or something.
My God.
So you can imagine,
what a life.
At class 7 living that life. Uko shule unaona venye nini other kids baba zao wanakuja wanaletea mpaka food, you know people telling stories of how their night was with their parents, and you don't even have a story to tell, because number one, it's very shameful. You don't know people if will be scared, ama wataanza kusengenya, ama utafukuzwa shule. Yani it was so much to handle.
It was too much for
and that's now when I got to drugs. I was like, this thing will help me to cool my mind, to relax.
Who introduced you to drugs? How did
Bad
you get
company. Kayole, Kayole even right now CV yake, or any part of Eastlands, know their CV and all that. And for me, it was so cool, because I was like, I just feel comfort in this place.
And high. And all your troubles disappear.
Exactly. And let me tell you, little did I know that I was lying to myself, and that nilikuwa yani na downgrade life yangu as a lady. But at that point, when you're in darkness, you're in darkness.
Absolutely.
You cannot be able to allocate iko hapa.
No.
So I was in total darkness. And let me tell you, Pastor Julie, I was enjoying my darkness. So when now we are here and time is moving, na ndio sasa mimi nimefika class 8 and I'm doing studies inaendelea to a point of now I'm almost finishing my class 8 to now go to form 1. My mom tells me, you better now start preparing your dad, umwambie anifungulie bank account, because hii job yao, you never know when they go, they can never return, you never know what will happen. So I'm wondering, how will I even approach my dad? Will I now start telling him, but unajua unaweza hivi nikukose,
tupange.
So how will I even start telling him, you know, na hata bado sijamaliza class 8, but my mom was pressuring me. So I remember when I was trying to reach him, and sometimes, you know, he had to force us to, if you want to communicate to me, we have to get to the second wife. So we used to call the second wife, tunamwambia mwambie hivi na hivi, because sasa sienda oneshine huko, mwambie hivi na hivi, ama we need this and this. And let me tell you, it reached a point whereby when we're still living in this self-control, remember we don't have peace, because our police, they are in our home all the time. Again, my dad now started drawing off from the responsibilities again. Tunaishi nyumba 9,000. Mom hayuko job. And hakuna pesa ya chakula, hakuna nothing. He's the one who was providing. Right now his life again, he's at stake. Lazima akae maisha kujificha. So how can you even get, you know, like it was so tough for us. And I tell you, I remember during those times, watu wanaona mnaishi self-contained, mnalala njaa, they don't know the life you're going through there. And let me tell you, this point is when I learned afterwards that peace is something that is very important.
Cannot be traded.
Oh my goodness, afadhali uishi kwa nyumba ya matope, but you have peace. I think peace, people look for money and all that kind of thing, but once you have peace, everything else follows.
True.
And I tell you, we never had that peace. So me, I'm there, shule, unakaa hivi unakumbuka, kuna makabandi sijui ma CID walikuja home, nini, akili napotea.
No study.
I'm telling you, shule nikaanza walimu. I remember my head teacher, though I love her so much because she really also played a role to transform my life. I remember when I was doing drugs, as zingine nimeenda shule, nimetoka jam session Sunday, Monday nimerauka, niko na hangover, nimelala class, sijui company tuko nao shule wamepatikana na, it was so crazy. Kila saa niko kwa makesi. So I remember this time I was like, I will never tell these people whatever is bothering me, whatever is eating me up. And that is what a lot of people are going through in life now. They have these burdens, but they're eating, you know, within, they don't want to speak it to anyone. So I was like, you judge me, I don't care. You say whatever thing you're saying, but I don't care. And now time came, nimekuja nimemaliza class 8. So kuna hiyo duration hapo January, mnangojea mwito shule so that we can start prepare to get to school to February. And I remember during this time, before then, now sasa life ilikujika kwa ngumu kwa hii self-contained, and we would atungeweza kukaa hapo tena, and then all those landladies drama, we were like, we don't want it to happen to us, let us just move ourselves. So this is what happened. My mom sold almost everything in that house. From TV, mpaka mattress, speaker, almost everything, so that we can be able to survive and move to a smaller house. So this time my mom is in a corner, tuko na madeni, my dad is nowhere to be found literally. Ndio sasa huyu mimi nimeshamaliza class 8 niko nje. So my mom tells me, we have to go to a place called Matopeni to find a house there. They are more cheaper. Me, I'm like, yes, Kayole it's big at large, but Matopeni is the last place you will tell us to go and live. Is it the
interior of Kayole?
Yes, one of the ghetto places whereby you have tuko na insecurities and all that kind of thing. So I'm like, how are we even going to survive there? Brother na sister wakienda shule itakuaje asubuhi, maybe, you know, alafu Kayole, at least right now it's much better, but kitambo it was worse.
That time it was bad.
So I'm like, how are we even going to survive that? My mom was like, let me tell you, in this life, life inaweza kupush in a corner and you will live to a room as size of a toilet.
You fit in.
Yes, you will live there and you will survive. So I really thank my mom till date, because each and every season of life, she used to teach me a lot, and her strength for me was everything, because I was like, kama una overcome kitu, then I think we can do it. I will walk with you through this journey. So we are there, tukakuja bahati mzuri tukapata nyumba ka single room tu kazuri, place ilikuwa bit much better, place called Kayole 1. So when we are there, I remember now first time ikakuja ikafika, I've not gone to school. My peers have gone, wananiambia, you know, I've gone to this school, kuna music festivals, kuna funkies, nini. So that I can be able to fit, I used to do a lot of research kuna kuanga na biology, kuna chemistry nini kuna hizi na hizi. So the moment we are texting or we are just meet up, na pia mimi nakuwa na story ya kusema na danganya akina kwamba I used to lie. If they only knew sijai enda hata shule. So nikaka kwa hiyo life first term, second term hivyo. So I remember mimi mpaka leo musemanga sisi tulikuwa tunavutanga bangi na muwashukuru sana because they were like my second family, you know. So every time tulikuwa tunakosa something to eat or anything, I used to go to them and help me with 100 shilling, help me with 200 shilling. Nenda na budget. Mom alikuwa shanifundisha kuishi kama mama kadogo. So nilikuwa najua when I have this 100 shillings nitanunua kupima ya 20, kama mafuta kupika ka 10 bob, mafuta ya stove, sukuma ya 20, that's it. Tutakula tushibe. So I had already started surviving at this certain age. So at some point now my mom, I think this thing became so much stressful to her, and akaanza kwenda kwa hizi ma estates kwa gate kwa wale wa mama huku simama kwa gate, you know, just to ask nini kama wanaweza fua. So yes, at least she used to go and apata something little, but you see a maximum of 500, where will you even start? Unaona huyu ni mtoto anahitaji fare, anahitaji snacks, unahitaji rent, unahitaji, you know, responsibilities everywhere. And I tell you, that became our life until time when my mom, one day she's sitting in one of the estates called Komarok, and she meets with her friend. So when she met with her friend, they started chatting like, hey, how have you been? How is life? You know, how are your kids? Nini nini. So when they were exchanging their lifestyles, you know, the woman told her, by the way, nilolewa na mzungu, naishi koma, this and this. And then mom was telling her this and this happened. Ata dama jai enda shule, we are going through this and that. And the woman said, I can help you, but in one condition. So mom asked, what one condition? Unless you guys come and work for me as housemaids. So my mom was in for anything. She was like, it's okay, no
as
problem.
Long as my daughter goes to school. Let me ask, that time daddy is not talking.
He is not even nowhere to be found.
You can't trace him.
He was not anywhere. Tangu tutoke yourself contained. And I think time when alikuwa na feel responsibilities ziko ndio sasa alikuwa anatoka. Because I remember that time when I was trying even to approach him and tell him to open an account for mama, alikuwa ananiambia umemaliza shule, unanipangia pesa yangu kama nani? Si umalize hata wakati akitafuta, you know, he's nowhere to be found. He used to be so rude by the I remember I think when this second wife came, the relationship disconnected with us completely. Yani sasa ilikuwa na kasisi ni kama ndio watoto mayatima ama wana wazazi, you know, it was that bad. So we are there, and you know, this woman comes, and you know, and now my mom comes, you know, she's like, by the way, mso hivi na hivi nimepatana na urafiki yangu na sasa ningetaka kukuambia hivi na hivi. So I'm like, atukufanya kazi kama housemaids, how is even that possible? You know, as in what picture will we portray? Yani hata marafiki zangu akiniona, you know, and we used to have this perspective that my maids not wanateseka nini, you know, and you wouldn't want to have such kind of life nini until you get there. Let me tell you, I remember that time I had no option because my mom alinipatia all the encouragements possible, and nilikuwa like I just have to do it at the end of the day. So I just took my clothes and we went to the woman's house because now I had to stay there. So I remember I went to school in that term in a school called Brucewood.
And that's where Kayole?
Yes, and that's where I began my journey to schooling. Niliingia watu wakifanya exam ya kuenda form 2. So I was literally I have nothing on my mind, but now the principal was like, no, it's okay, so long, the good thing is that we have admitted her, so don't worry, you can just write your name, but the fact that you're in school, that's it. Me, I'm telling you, this home we were living in, it was, I don't know, let me not say one hell of a home because ilinisaidia at some point, but mateso ikaanza kukua pale
shule,
you know, like attitude that you're given, you know, sasa unateseka, sisi ndo tunakusaidia. You know, so this woman, I remember she used to change her clothes 3 times a day. Let
me ask, you moved from your home?
Yes.
You went and started living with this woman who is now paying your school fees?
Yes. Because now I had to wake up very early in the morning, prepare her kids, you know, make her, if it's tea, whatever, I do so that I can start preparing myself
to go to school.
And where was mom? Time yenye niko shule, mom sasa ndio ako shift ya mchana. You know, so penya naachia na mimi nakuja nachukulia, but I remember my mom alikuwa ananihurumia, so she was trying so much to make sure she has done everything so that by the time natoka shule I can be able to at least, you know, catch up with studies, notes and all that kind of thing. But this woman made sure nimefanya kazi. And it was such a scenario because at some point it made me almost hate rich people because alikuwa like anaweza kula kuku and then aache mabakisho very nice pieces akwambie ebu tupewe kwa dustbin imeshiba. So this one Saturday we are doing a general cleaning, you know, we are so happy nini.
You and this,
yes. This woman just comes from nowhere and she says, I have misplaced my 10,000 Kenya shillings. It was in my bag.
Nani ameiba sasa?
Nani ameiba?
My.
Alafu unajua alikuwa tu anaongea. Hajasema ni nyinyi, but you know the way she's talking, she's like she's actually addressing to you, okay? So my mom asked her, you know, I was the one who was cleaning your room and hakuna mali nimepatana na 10,000. That woman blew up. So you want to tell me that it's my kids who have stolen the money? Me, I can even put 50,000 here and it stays for 1 month and nobody will touch even a single coin. I don't know, blah, blah, blah. So she was like, in short, it's you guys who have stolen.
Yes.
So my mom was like, my friend, I think when you go through the worst in life, anything happens anywhere, you'll be the first suspect. Go pack your things. That school, wacha ikae. Let's go back to our life. And that's what we did.
You went back?
Yes. So even when I remember when January came and it was time to report to school, sasa school fees yule mama aliacha kulipa. So that was my end again of school.
Form 2?
It was now, yeah, Form 2.
Yeah.
So shule kakuja ikakatikia completely.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I'm here. I was doing drugs passionately. Non-stop. Yani ilikuwa sasa, nikakuwa sasa addict. Nikakuja sasa nikanywa nywele, nikaona sasa mimi sina life.
Yeah.
You know, penye where my hope was, it's gone. So I started doing drugs, sasa ile na full force. I started committing to, you know, going to, I don't know, hizo ma road trips. Niko huku sijui mbaba mgani ametusponsor, tunaenda Naivasha huko, tunalewa huko nini. Yani that was now my lifestyle. Nikakuja nikatoboa masikio, ma earrings, like I used to look like a chokora, like literally. Unaona kwanza mademu wa ghetto wakitransform to that direction, they look like a whole different thing. Not to the kind. So these are pictures, you'll stream them, they will see.
Yeah.
So that was my life. And I had no hope at all. I remember this particular time, I used to hate God so much.
I know.
Because I was like, why is this happening to us?
Yeah.
Me and nasikia watu akisema ati God darkos, you know, you need to pray to God. I'm like, pray to God for what? You know, why is he allowing this to happen? You know, so what have I done? Me, I'm so innocent, blah, blah, blah. And I remember after that happened, at some point my mom alikuja akakuwa sick and she had blood pressure and it was yani at, you know, the level. Mi sasa siko najua anything to do with blood pressure. Siko shule sasa ni hii time yenye niko nje tulishatoka kule mama. Yani mama pia yeye hope imeisha. Ameshua nguvu, ameanza kuwa mgonjwa. Dama kuko anavuta bangi na kuja tu kuangalia watoto wako sawa nini hawako sawa naendea vitu. So I remember cause my mom alikuwa sick for almost a week. So I was like the mom that time. Remember this time my dad is nowhere to be seen, nowhere to be found.
And you're high on drugs like every other time.
Every other time. I remember that time hata mamangu alikuwa anasema mimi nitakulani, nitakuachia dunia, baba yako amenichosha, wewe sasa pia unataka kunichosha. But sasa niko mimi aki ukajua hata mimi niko mimi niko tu zangu, like I'm also dealing with my own thing that it's just crazy. So I remember this time my mom akakuwa very sick and I remember inviting my friend to go and see her. And this time she was vomiting blood, she was shaking, she was like, can you please try and call that number? Huyo daktari ndo alikuwa ananitreat. Tell him I'm at my worst right now. And I remember I went to the balcony before even making any step and I cried. I was like, God, I'm not going to witness you taking my mom.
Yeah.
Because she was suffering.
She was almost going.
She was almost going. And that's what she was saying because alikuwa shanza kuniambia, mso acha nikwambie ile siku yenye Mungu atakufanikisha, usiwahi dharau brother yako, sister yako, make sure umewainua, don't ever. I'm like, why are you telling me these words? She's like, whatever I'm feeling inside, I know the pain that I'm feeling, I cannot survive. I was like, I'm not going to witness this. Nilikaa kwa balcony nikalia. And now let me tell you the craziest part. So when I was trying to go and because now I made the call to the doctor, kanambia hiyo dawa ndio inatakikana so that the pressure can at least go a bit low. So I remember going, I was on my way running to those watu wangu wa banki kwenda kuitisha pesa. I met with my dad. And I remember seeing him, I was so excited because I was like, hey, finally I've seen this man. You know, so I was like, hey baba, hata nakumbuka it was so haraka because my heart was pumping. I was like, nilikuwa na feel kama ndo niko maisha ya mami kwa mkono yangu sasa because of those medicines. So I was so excited. I was like, baba, aki mami ni mgonjwa, you know, na anahitaji hii dawa iko 900. Alinambia, you know, there are two options for somebody who is sick. They can either survive or die.
Alikwambia hivyo?
Yes. Period.
Hey, heartlessly.
I remember that time I had yani nilikuwa na ile nini ya kukaa hapo nilie niishe nguvu nikuwa like by the way I give up. But I remember me sijui that strength ilikuja from where nilikuwa like by the way I'm so used to you. Me I won't stand here and start crying. Nilikuwa naenda napata na mtu najua nisaidie 200. Na nisaidie 200, nisaidie so moja until I got the 900. So I remember when I got to Zanaki chemist. When I was on my way back home, nilikuwa na tense juu nilikuwa kai nitapata hako ama ameenda. Hata kufungua mlango I was fearing. So I remember even cause that lady alikuwa anaitwa Eva, my friend, she was there for me that time. So she was the one helping me with everything. Niko mpaka Eva aki amelala. Uko sure ako ama ameenda? Anasema I think that medicine is strong, so let's give her some time. So after imagine nilikaa hapo statue hivi. Nikingoja tu kuona what is going to happen next. My siblings wako chini wanacheza. I'm like, when they come and find their mom is normal, what am I going to tell them? Where is life going to head? You know? So I'm there. I'm like, okay. And then she woke up, I was like, oh my goodness. I'm glad you're back. Now let me tell you from there, ndio mama kaanza kusema, you know, na feel too vibaya nikiona whatever is happening. Na feel it's like I'm not playing a role enough as a parent. You know, I'm not playing a role enough. And I was trying to tell her, of course you are doing the best. And it's something that I'm seeing it. And I said, you don't know how it feels to mimi kukuona uko huku hauendi shule while others are going. You know, everybody has talked. Everybody has said everything. I'm like, don't even mind them, nini. You know.
Let me ask, your father never even came to see her?
Not at all.
And again, I'm also taken back. Where is your elder brother now at that point? Is it your elder brother or
Yes.
Ako wapi bado tu
alikuwa ameanza survival. I think alikuwa somewhere in Ruai, I guess. Alikuwa ameanza survival huko.
So kila mtu maisha yake tu.
Yes. And I tell you, I even wonder how all this happened because ni kama mimi ndio nilibeba burden yote ya familia.
I know, and that is why you had to go crazy with drugs to manage the stress.
Exactly. I was like, mimi ndio nimebeba burden yote.
Mapema.
Yes. So, when this happened, now after some time, my dad akaanza kuwa interested, inakuwa ni watu walihama walienda wapi. So that self kwenye tulikuwa tunaishi na kwenye tulihamia single room, it's not that far. So my dad akambililiwa nini akakuja. So he makes a visit, and again when I come, I'm so excited because every time I used to see him nilikuwa na join pesa school fees nikuja. So this time I remember he makes the first visit and he's there and he's like, "Oh, so mlihamia huku. How are you guys surviving?" I'm like, boss, tumeishi kuishi single room umoja. Why are you behaving like you've been living in a whole mansion all your life, you know? And you're like, there we're trying to explain to the rich man, this is how we survive, we sleep.
The rich man.
You know? So that was the first visit, and then he went. So the second, nothing. So the second visit he comes, and this is where now everything, you know, like this is where my life now took a turn. So he comes, and again I'm so excited. Nakumbuka ilikuwa around usiku hapo, nilikuwa nimetoka tu kwa watu wa bangi, nimekuja na hizo unga na sukuma zangu za kawaida because that was like our daily meal. And I was like, hey, nilingia tu like, sasa baba akaniuliza unasalimia nani sasa, mimi ni rika yako? Nikamwambia, oh sorry. And my dear, by the one thing that I've not told you, you know, from this even self-contained, as I told you then when time when your dad alikuja kama relationship ili disconnect, he used to hate us so much, including me and my mom. So ilikuwa inafika akikujanga kutu visit, akikuja kwa self-contained when alikuwa anakuja kutembea, he used to find something that will make him beat me up. I think that was his satisfaction. Like ilikuwa ni lazima. Angekuja tu ulize mbona hii chupa ya maji inafanya nini hapa? Uko like, okay, I'm drinking that water, that's where the bottle is there. Like mbona hii kitu hiko hapa? Mpaka unashanga what is this person using? But you'll be beaten up for that. So that was like my body had already adapted that, and I was already used to it. So this time he comes and he was like, hey, unasalimia nani sasa? And then my mind just clicked, here is another war. So I was like, pole sana. Even ndo mlifunzwa kusalimia, na I was like, pole, habari yako. Even ndo mlifunzwa kusalimia, na I'm like, kwani hao walimu walitudanganya ama what is happening here? Karibu niseme ohoro haku. Wewe ni arogo zote. I'm like, what is nikajua ile kawaida imeweza kupigwa na tafti. Nikaambiwa piga magoti, nikapiga magoti hapo nini. Akaanza kuniambia weka hizo vitu hapa, acha kujifanya vinyo umetoka kununua vitu. Mama yako ako wapi? Nikamwambia yuko, alienda kuhustle. Hizi vitu umetoa wapi pesa ya kununua? Nikamwambia nimeomba beshte yangu so akanipatia. And then he told me, kama si kazi ya umalaya unafanya kama mama yako, ni kazi gani hiyo unafanya tutapewa pesa tu hivi na mwanaume bure kama si kazi ya umalaya? And I remember those words broke me. I remember that time I was kneeling down and my eyes were closed and I just pictured the way tulikuwa tumefanya kazi kama housemaids. You are not present and you are here telling me, comparing, Yeah. And that was the first time ever babangu akizoanga kunichapa. That was the first time I tried defending myself, or I talked back to him and was like, baba, mimi najua mama afanyangi kazi umalaya. Kusema tu hiyo word peke yake nilipigwa.
Ukawekwa.
Moiko, mshipi, anything that looked like inaweza nipiga, ilikuwa ina end up kwa mwili yangu. I remember hata moiko ikivunjikia kwa nini. Na Duma alikuwa ananipiga kama mwanaume. Alafu it's so funny because alikuwa ananipiga lakini hataki kuona nikilia. Ananiuliza unalia nini? Niko like, boss, umeniumiza, unexpect nikuwe na check ama I'm just here silently, It's like somebody torturing you. Is just satisfied when anakuona when you're in pain. So after that, I remember now akaanza kutoa pesa, and that single room was like I used to call it a cube. So alikuwa anatoa pesa neka juu ya meza, and now yeah, so niko hapo nalia, niko kwa uchungu, but I'm like I'm excited, finally umetoa pesa, like pesa school fees ndio hata kama umenichapa. I tell you, it was different from what I was thinking. So this is what he tells me. Hizi zote ni pesa unaona hapa, na kuanzia leo juu nimeona nyinyi ni wajuaji. That is the word he used. Nimeona nyinyi ni wajuaji. Enda utafute kama utakuwa malaya, kama utakuwa chokora, ama kama utakuwa housemaid. Lakini sitawahi kusomesha. Hizi pesa afadhali nizimwage kwa mtaro nione zimeenda, ama niende nikalewe zote, lakini sitawahi kusomesha. And that was the last encounter I had with him. And you know what he did? Hapo tu, he called the second wife, akamwambia start ordering nakuja. And that was it. And now I started thinking, by the way, wasi who commit suicide. By the way, at least housemaid nimefanya. So bado malaya na ingine ya chokora. By the way, I started having a lot. I remember that time my brother and my sister were there crying because they had witnessed everything that was happening. Wakati nilikuwa napigwa, wanajaribu kunidefend, wanatukanwa. Like nilikuwa nasikia for a minute, it's like somebody who is lost, somebody who is not there. It's like I'm gone and it's just my body which is there.
Yeah.
And I tell you, remember this time my mom comes in, she was so excited. Sijui amepata 5,000, now she can start saving so that I can be able to go to school. And the whole house was in a different vibe. She's like, hey, mbona mko na attitude, what's going on? And so anytime I was trying to go to explain to her what had happened, nasikia nachokiwa. Yani that voice ilibaki kama eko kwa kichwa yangu, haiko inatoka. And that last part, endo uko chokorama ama nini kitu plani. So I remember nikienda kusema kitu, I just broke down. And so my brother is there and I try to explain ya mom, I remember she asked that question like almost 5 times. Unasema babako amekuonesha pesa, uko sure hausemi uongo? I'm like, you can ask them, they have told you. And I remember my mom just said one word, pesa haioneshangu ijua. Tupige magoti tuombe hiyo pesa. And that's what she did. My mom cried, my mom prayed. Yani she prayed.
Yeah.
And then after then, I think it was 1 month later. Before that, mind you, nikakuwa na bitterness. I started developing now bitterness. Leave alone ile stress, nilikuwa sasa bitterness kakuje kaingia. I started hating my dad with passion. I now started saying, this man should be dead. Huyu mtu anafaa aende hizo vitu zake auliwe immediately. And if they don't do it, I can find. Yani, I was like, mimi hata sahi neza mpeana. Maybe I can tell the police he's here, go and kill, and I even sensitized, go and kill him. I started having bitterness. I started having hatred. I was just bitter with life and bitter with myself and bitter with everyone.
Everything.
Let me tell you. So this time comes and I remember
You're still doing drugs.
Yes, I'm still doing drugs. So this time comes and I'm starting meeting people, inclusive of my friends wenye walikuwa church guys that I never used to like associating with them because walikuwa wananiambia stories za church sana. So this time ikakuwa too much. mtu anakuja ananiambia Kidama, you know you're so talented, you know God is going to use you, you know you need to forgive your dad. I'm like, you don't know what you're saying.
What are you talking about?
You don't know what you're saying. Forgiveness, that will be I remember even I used to swear, nilikuwa nasema mimi mpaka nikufe sitawahi samehea huyo mtu. I will never, that is the last thing I'll ever do to this world. Let me tell you. So afterwards God akakuja akatusaidia, and I was able to go to school, the one that I was called in Kirinyaga Girls. And now let me tell you, I think nikiwa hapo sasa ndio nilikuwa na recap life yangu yote.
It was boarding?
Yes, it was a boarding school.
Yeah.
So this our CU patron, our CU chairman alikuwa anaitwa Mr. Joram. I really honor him till date. So one day he calls me to the hall because I think he realized, I don't know, it's God who used him. So I think he realized I'm always absent-minded. So one day he calls me to the hall. Peke yetu tu akaniambia, Damaris, I want you to tell me what's going on with you. I had never shared this thing with anyone, not even my friends. Hata wenye tuko na vuta bangi now, they never knew whatever I was going through in life. Nobody knew because it was a shameful life. Yes. So I'm like, niko na ile hardship ya kushare kitu kuambia mtu this and this is what is happening and this is what really is eating me up. So I remember I just shared a tip of it, and I remember this teacher alishinda kiniambia, you need to forgive your dad. You need to forgive your dad for you to move on. And I remember at that time, I will never forget, I walked out of that hall. I was like, Mwalimu, you don't know what you're talking about.
What are you telling me?
And that's the last thing I want to hear, by the way. Na hiyo story kuniambia kuokoka, that's the last thing I want to hear. And let me tell you, I remember nikakuja, nikakuwa kichwa ngumu, nikachoma shule Kirinyaga, tukashikwa, tukapelekwa Sagana police station. Now I had repeated, by the way, because sikuwa nimesoma anything. Nikaanza form 1 afresh. So niko hapo, tukapelekwa Sagana police station. My mama kwa hapo ameshachoka sana maisha yangu. And now I think from that moment, juu sasa tena sunaona shule yangu ilikuja ikakatisika tena juu nimepigwa G, I cannot go to school again. So my mom told me, by the way, just know umechoma shule, there is nowhere you can go. Sina karatasi ya kusema ati nini, you have a bad CV, so I don't know what you want with your life, now it's up to you. I remember the school yenye nimalizia form 4 St. Valentine's in Machakos. Mimi mwenyewe ndo nilienda kujitafutia shule. And I remember at this point, do you know the mature? Yes, imagine. And do you know, I think it was so timely and God had purpose for it to happen that way, because that's when I now started coming back to my senses after that incident that happened in school. So I was like, yes, I was like, by then I need to give my life to Christ. So I remember then tukakuja tukaambiwa baadaye, because I remember the second wife was the one who actually communicated to mom. Akamwambia the dad ameshikwa. At first alikuwa amepigwa mob justice because alikuwa amejificha. They found him, akapigwa mob justice. He was rescued and arrested, and then akafunguliwa mashtaka, and that whatever happened.
Over the thuggery thing.
Yes. So I remember this time I'm still having my bitterness, but now life ilikuwa inaanza. I was not realizing at this time. So ndio huyo mimi nimekuja nikakaa nikajifikiria, nikaona, by the way, I think I'm really messing up my mom, I'm really messing up with my life. It's time for me to wake up. So I remember at some point now when kabla hata sijaenda shule, kabla sija report shule, I sat somewhere like this. Imagine nimekaa tu nimejitayarisha na ngoja kwenda sherehe. And then I'm just alone. Niko tu kwa nyumba peke yangu na ngojea phone call. And then this time I just feel like I'm talking with someone that I'm not seeing. And this someone was just challenging me. Dama, look at your life. See what you have gone through. Don't you think this is enough? Do you still want to be? Someone talk to yes, but I cannot. I remember I was seated like in this position, by the way. And nasikia tu ni kama, and I was doing nothing. I was not talking. I was doing nilikuwa tu hivi. And from nowhere I started crying. Ile kulia ni kama nimepigwa ama sijui nimekufiwa. I started crying. And I remember after that it left me that one option. You need to give your life to Christ.
Only.
Yes, that was so loud and clear. You need to give your life to Christ. And there, I remember there was one friend of mine anaitwa Jemo. I really respect him again. So this guy, nikamwanblock, nikamwambia, I want you to help me. Wewe umekuwa ukiniambia stories za church sana. I want you to help me to know this God.
Kumemblock jeu mali.
Juu ya kanisa alikuwa ananiinsistia stories za church sana.
Au unapenda?
Sikuwa napenda story ya God. So I'm telling him, I want you to help me. I want to know this God. Please help me. So this guy was like, Dama, bezi unajua kwanga joka. Because I think what kaleo backslide kesho. Nobody had hopes in me.
I know.
Because of the life I was living. I was like, Jemo, this time you're not the one. We si wewe umenitafuta. Ni mimi nimekutafuta. So please help me.
Yeah.
And I tell you, that guy started walking me through the journey. And I remember Me, Pastor Julie, my transformation never took a month. I don't know if it ever even took a week. It took days. Nilikaa tu hivi nikaanza kufeel. Unaona venye unakaa hivi unasikia kuna craving ya kutaka kula kuku na uko na hiyo craving and you want. I started now craving for God, going to church. I started craving to read that word, and this guy really walked me through the journey. I remember him introducing me to a radio station that was a Christian based, and I used to listen to testimonies, I used to listen to the word and everything. I was like, where are you going for an event? Because that guy is an artist. Where are you going to an event? I want you to invite me. Where are you going to church? I want to. And through walking with him, that's where I gave my life to Christ in 2015. 25th December. In a kesha that we had gone to.
Christmas Day.
Yes. And I remember that time I was the only person who gave my life to Christ.
Amen.
And since then, my life never took a turn back. Unaona venye wanasemanga ati
drugs
utaokoka, utaanza kukunywa pombe. Kama ulikuwa unakunywa chupa 3, utaanza kunywa 2, 1 alafu wache. Mimi nilikatu hivi naanza kusikia harufu ya bangi na irritate. Nasikia ni kama nasikia kupuke nikisikia harufu ya bangi. Naona tu msichana na chana nikukai kwani msichana jielewi haji. You think I've taken like nimeenda rehab 2 years nika transform, but it was within that week. Yani everything, the transformation. I remember before I started going to those events and nini, I was like clean already.
You were clean.
God had already started cleansing me kabisa kabla sija make that personal decision ya kuja now kuokoka and say the words. And I remember after that I just felt so relieved. I remember that day people hugged me. Oh my goodness, I cried. I felt like ni kama sijui
you
know,
new life.
And since then I remember this guy was guiding me and he was telling me anza kuomba, anza kuomba God connect na wasi new friends. It's very easy. Those marafiki zako wa kitambo wachana nao nini, and everything started taking a twist very fast. And indeed God started connecting me with the right people, with the right channels, and I started enjoying that life. And I felt like for real I'm in the light. So sasa ndio unaanza kuona ile giza yenyewe singeona kitu. Sasa niko kwa light, I'm seeing things in a different dimension, in a different way. And that's how God opened a door for me. I got a chance to go back to school. I finished my Form 4 in Valentine's. And now in this place, because I took every time we have these prayers and nini. Now that was a moment for me with God, because I remember we even used to have fastings and all that. So each time I'm praying, and then this thing comes and hits me up like, you only have one thing that you have not yet done. I'm like, what's that? You're not forgiven your dad. And I realized then niko na burden. Let me tell you, nilikuwa kwa hiyo maombi hivi and niko, the last thing God I said is I will never forgive that man. Never. And let me tell you, Pastor Julie,
let me ask for the viewers, your dad that time is incarcerated.
Yes, already is in prison. So me I'm there praying. I remember ati nenda kuomba maombi ya kulala, this voice. Unaona venye tunanga movie za Nigeria, warogi wanawafuata kwa usingizi wapi. So mimi spirit ilikuwa inanifuata. And I remember it was on a Sunday service. I was just praying, and this moment it hit me so hard. And I was just closing my eyes and I was like, God, I remember it was very short, very brief. I was like, God, if this your will, then let your will be done.
I've forgiven him.
I won't even argue with this spirit again. I have forgiven him. And I remember immediately, hata ile maombi nilikuwa nasema prayer points nimeweka, it stopped immediately and I broke down. I felt so yani, do you know, literally I felt ni kama venye mtu anaweza kuwa amekushika hivi so tight amekuachilia. You are like, I felt
you are not, it's
so
like you
free.
are not breathing.
Yes, exactly. And I tell you, I cried. Remember all this time, nobody knows my story.
No one.
Nobody knows. It's just me and my mom and the family. And let me funny thing, even the family members, hawakuwa wanajua. They used to ask and used to tell them, dad ameenda job Sudan. Wanda haonekani.
Hawakuwa wanani.
Yes, even my siblings, hawa wadogo walikuja kujua story baadaye after now even the dad is arrested. Yes.
And it's true you are friends.
Imagine.
You are tight.
So me, I'm telling you that happened, and I remember I called my mom when I was in school and I told her, by the way, this and this happened, and I think it's time that I need to forgive my dad, so I want you to take me to Kamiti prison. Hey, my mom was like, you know how Kikuyu react.
Alifungwa akapeleka.
Yes. My mom was like, uko na akili mzuri wewe. Unajua kile unasema wewe. Nikamwambia just sasa mom, mimi nimeokoka. I'm now handling and seeing things differently. My mom was like, can you zima hiyo radio? Zima hiyo radio. Hiyo maneno hata afadhali uniambie mimi, lakini wewe ndio umego through the worst. You can never forgive that man. And I remember I told my mom, I think then that will be so hard for us.
Yeah.
But I'll have to do that. Whether you like it or not. It's not optional. It's like, lazima tufanye, because me I feel like I have to.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, Pastor Julie, one thing that people don't know when it comes to forgiveness. In life, when somebody has offended you in one way or another, whether they have killed you, whether they have raped you, or whether they have done whichever thing, we always have this perspective like they're the one who are supposed to come and ask for forgiveness. It's not for us, and like they owe us, come and ask for forgiveness. And if you notice, in many cases that never happens.
It never happens because they are hardened.
It never happens ati unapata mtu alikuja akaua mtu wako sana, kuja nakwambia by the way I'm sorry niliua huyo mtu. It never happens. And when that thing occurs, you become the slave of that thing.
You become
the prisoner. Kwa sababu wewe unasafa. Do you know this person is there living life? Uko tu anaendelea na mambo yako, but you are the one who is like, na bado akona audacity ya kuendelea na life na anajua kitu amenifanyia. So you start becoming like, that's why you have people start wanaanza ku revenge when unasikianga hasira. That's why you have people ending up in crazy stuffs as a sign of revenge. Now it never ends up well. But now this time I was now imagining, and I think my visit to committee when I was in that gate.
So you went?
I went. Finally my mom accepted. So I remember when I was in that gate, iliniletea all the memories.
Fresh.
Like
like you're seeing them.
Yes, like I'm seeing them. Because this man, I've longed him. The last encounter I had with him is enda ukue, enda ufanye. And here is me going. Yes. Here is me going to tell him that I forgive you. It was me, I tell you. And let me tell you, the craziest thing is that even till date when I go to committee, I think that's one of my emotional places when penye mu visit. That's one. It's always my sijui nitaiekaje, but every time I go to committee, it's always my emotional moment.
He's still there?
Yeah, he's still there. Like walking through committee hata before nifike kwa gate, naanzanga tu kwa hizo memories. And it's not, I don't have them like in a bad way, naanza ku regret by them mbona nilimsamehea. I just remember them and I just tell God, indeed you are amazing. And if not for you, then I don't know what would have happened. I always, I walk through, and I think that's, let me say it's ile kilio, they say the joy, you just have a lot of joy in Lord, that you're like, God, by the way, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have had this peace. I wouldn't have had a relationship with my dad and all that kind of thing. So I go to committee.
Committee maximum.
Time. Yes, it's so crazy, especially the worst part is that, and I there is a testimony of his, and I believe God is going to do wonders, because afterwards he came to give his life to Christ. And when I went there, I remember nilikuwa na expect bado atakuwa gangster, like umekaa msawa, hiyo story ishe aende. So I was so much ready to this negative attitude, but it was so different. He was actually you would think I was the prisoner, because alikuwa anani encourage and ananiambia my words are God. I'm like, hey, Allah, what's happening here? Me, I was nilikuja hapa loaded, nimeomba, now I'm going to encourage this man. I will tell him like Paulo and Silas went through here. But now he was the one who was preaching to me. And I was like, that transformation happened so quick even for him. And I remember the first thing he told me, I was waiting for this day.
So you told him you're forgiven him?
Yes. And I remember I took time, Mimi, Pastor Julie, if the policemen who are there, they can testify. I cried until time ilisha, without talking nothing. My dad was the one just talking. Anambia tu msongea, anaona venye nimechange, anaona sasa nakaa kama msichana wako na akili. He's not, like literally by then my dad has not played a role in that part yenye nilikuwa namuhitaji sana. So he's seeing this transformed person nini, anambia tu ongea mso, nataka kusikia sauti yako. Na mimi kilio inalia, aki nachokiwa, nashindwa kuongea kabisa. And then when I was telling him those words, nilikuwa namwambia kama mtu venye mtu anakuanga Baba, I want to tell you, nimekuja hapa kuambia forgiven you. And I remember those words. It was not much words. I told him that God had a purpose as to why alikuacha wewe ukakuwa uhai. Nikamwambia all your friends, by the way, mind you, everybody when you alikuwa nafanya na uko, because we used to know some of them. everybody is dead, ako kwa mchanga. Nilimwambia there is a reason as to why God alikubakisha wewe, because all of your friends that you used to know, all of them died, but you survived. Nikamwambia every day, every moment you wake up into this place, always ask God, why am I here, God? Why did you spare me? May he always remind you of where you have come from. And I remember it was an emotional moment, even for him. You know, he was so emotional, but I could see it. And so after hapo, mind you, I'm the only one, I'm like the only one who has forgiven my dad in the whole family setup. My mom still struggles, but I believe her time also will come. But till now, as we speak, we are the best of friends with my dad.
Wow.
As we speak right now, I never miss to go visit him like almost every month.
Oh, you go?
Every month. I always make sure, like, nitajaribu. Even if it's not a month, after 2 months, I always make sure that I'm always there for him. So I'm like, siku hizi nakuwaga like a darling daughter. You know, there nipigie na simu ya welfare, naambia mswaki, sina tissue, sina sabuni, please try nini. And mimi, I tell you, afadhali nikope, but I'll make sure I'll go and be there for him in whatever thing he needs.
How long is he there?
So, this is what happened. At first, alikuwa amefungwa kunyongwa. And then Uhuru, the president akatoa hiyo ya kunyongwa, akasema wenye wamefungwa kunyongwa wanafungwa life sentence. Then akaenda life sentence. So after life sentence he appealed, and then after appealing it took time, and then kesi yake ya appeal go through and they shortened his sentence. Now akatolewa from maximum prison to a medium prison. So you see also God is working miracles on his side. And it's a prayer that I always had. Mind you, do you know, after forgiving him, he now became my prayer point. I remember when I used to go to Keshas to nini, mi mtu alikuwa anasema prayer point, that was my prayer point. And God did it. I can stand and attest that I have been part of his journey and have seen God working things in his life.
Asking, where is the second family?
Walipotoka, things changed by the way. Let me tell you, God again aliwork things so nini. I don't know what happened wakakosana.
They can never stay.
Yes.
Your dad had kids with
No.
Okay.
Like they never had kids, and that's the best thing. I think I always thank God. You know. So that happened, Pastor Julie, and as I've told you right now, we are the very best of friends with my dad.
You go see him
every time I see him, I'm always there for him. You know, even like me and my friends, we usually go there and like we are like his family now. Because not even his brothers go there. Not even nobody goes there, even our familia yao. Because everybody's like, huyu ni mwizi bado. We don't want to know kama aliokoka. He does not. You know, and that is one thing that actually now when I come to Most Loved Initiative, because remember I told you that I have
let me introduce that part well. Okay. After everything you have gone through, your story as a child to a teenager who is very wild, and to God, you know, taking you back to salvation, taking you back to himself in salvation. Where is Mso right now? So
right now I thank God because despite trying to do some few things so that I can be able to survive in life, I was like, this is not my place. But anytime I come to the mission work, anytime I come to do God's work, it really suits me well, it really fits me well. So I've been working with an organization, an NGO that's called Proud Me in Kenya. So we do like school missions, both primary and high schools, prisons, and that's where I've been exercising my ministry. I also told you that I'm a gospel minister. I've been able to record and, you know, release some songs.
How many?
I think like 6 right now on my YouTube channel.
What is your stage name or your
Damaris
YouTube name?
Kimani. And my dude, I used to hate my dad's name. That time nikiwa na chuki, I was like, idea yangu hakuna venye naweza tolewa jina yake. But right now I embrace it and I love it so much. So that's why I love Damaris Kimani so much. So Damaris Kimani on YouTube channel, on Instagram, everywhere. You can go and find my songs there. So so I started exercising. I started encouraging people through music, because music is such a powerful tool. And you can communicate to the world through it. So that is one of the places that I exercise my ministry. And another place is in the schools missions that, as I've told you, I'm an inspirational speaker. So through this place, because I remember this was like my burning point in school. Nobody knew whatever I was going through. And it's the same case to a lot of schools here, unapata mwalimu anachapa mtoto, but they don't want to know the background as to why all this is happening. And some of them won't talk because the backgrounds they are so dirty, they are so terrible. They don't want to anika their dirty linen because they are like, you're going to judge me, you know. So when I go there, you know, you'll find students coming afterwards, they tell you, I think they will even cry, this is my dad, the story that you have shared, this is how when my mom ata ako hivi, nini na nini, you have encouraged me, I felt like giving up. And all that kind of thing.
They open up to you.
They open up so much.
Because they relate with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's where I felt like this is where my purpose is. And now coming to the initiative, as I've told you, when I began visiting the prison, I started seeing life in that world.
Yeah.
Those people, despite of them doing the craziest things in this world, you know, them being there, it's a second chance.
Yes.
You might see them as murderers, rapists, and all those kind of things, but God views them in a different way. You know, God can use anyone. When I went there and you could hear some of the testimonials from those people, unajua when you go there, it's like ni kama shule by the way. Unaona vile shule, kuna watu wanavizitiwa, kuna wenye wavizitiwi, hawajai hata vizitiwa. Kuna watu wanaletewa food, kuna wenye hawajawahi letewa, so wanategemea wale wameletewa. So when you go there, a lot of stories that you'll hear, it's rejection. Yeah. Somebody's like, me, I've been here for 20 years. I had a wife. They got, she rejected me. She got married to another guy. She never even wants my kids to come and visit me. Like, and rejection, I think, is the worst thing you'll ever experience in life. Yeah. Because you're by your own. This is where you start having suicide thoughts. This is where you start now going to the drugs direction. And I believe even to some of our viewers who are watching right now, some of the people are going through that path right now. Just because you feel your biological mom rejected you, your biological dad, your guardians, husband, kids, or whichever the case, they rejected you, you start ending up in the negative, because now this time the voice of the enemy becomes so loud into your ears. And it tells you, go be that prostitute. Go do this negative thing. It will make you escape from that world and you'll be okay. Me, I'll be, you know. But let me tell you, and I want to tell our viewers today, that the secret of this life, live alone at equal successful, it's all about money. It's all about going to, I don't know to what places. The secret in this world is just having God in your life. You have God, you have life. That is it. You choose God, you choose life.
Talk about your initiative.
So my initiative, as I've said, I focus so much on the street kids because I remembered that statement and it really got me to a point of, so some of the kids that I see here, it means that maybe each and every one of them, ndio atoke kwao, there is something they were told. There's something that really transpired for them to end up there. So I started going to Jivanji Gardens. I started interacting with the kids. You know, I just want to know, why did you end up here? What was the cause? And some of the stories you'll just hear is, you know, my mom, my dad died, my mom akawa stepdad. This stepdad, this is what they've been doing to me. This stepmom, this is what they've been doing to me. So that's why I ended up here. Na unapata si kupenda kwao. It's their will for them to change, but they don't have that opportunity. They don't have that someone to. So when I started doing that initiative, I remember I started with 2 boys, scratch from Jivanji, and I took them from there to a rehabilitation center, which it was a very tough process, because now again rehabilitation centers, me, I've never been there before, but now you see, out of this ministry, out of this thing that God planted in me, it started leading me to, you know, now this is where I want to be, this is where I want you to help people, this place. So there I went to a rehabilitation setup. I saw like, oh, so this is how people are, this is how people struggle with drugs, this is how people end up nini. And now I started doing events there. So I managed to do like 6 episodes of event. I used to work with Joseph Kangede Rehabilitation Center. It's in Adams Arcade. It's a boys rehabilitation center. And then the last event I did in a rehab, it was Kayole Girls Rehabilitation Center. And now 2019 came, and then COVID came, and then there is things with finances, because now this is from well wishers for you to be able to have this event and artists coming through and all that. So I stopped doing it. But now the good thing is this year I actually revived it, and I've been able to visit a children's home. And this April actually, that's coming on 8th, I'm planning to have another event on a boys' home. So God has been so faithful, let me say, and that's how Most Loved initiative was. That's what I was I usually use the tagline, a place What's the tagline? A place where your life is given a meaning.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's the tagline for Most
Loved. Wow. What a story. What a life transforming story. From a childhood, filled with violence, to a teenager who got into drug abuse, to a girl who was handpicked by God, to a person right now with an organization called Most Loved. That is indeed the hand of God that has taken our viewer from one step to the other. And indeed, that is the life of so many of people going outside here. So many teenagers are going through so many stuff. They are going they are going through so many challenging situations. That has been the life of Damaris. She may not be so old, but again, she has seen it all. Everything that she has gone through, were it not for the hand of God that picked her out and singled her out to become the minister that she is right now, we would be talking of a different story. And that is why she's here on Scars to Stars, to be able to bring hope to you that is feeling as if your life is down and out, to be able to bring hope to you that feels as if you are, you're in a dark position, you're in a dark situation, you are in a hopeless situation. She was in the same predicament as a young girl, to a teenager, to a young lady, vibrant, beautiful young lady, serving God and serving humanity in most beloved, most loved organization. And she's here to encourage you and let you know that life always gives those that allow it second chances. I'd like to hear your parting shot. And your story is all about a very challenged childhood, and also about parenting. Just speak to a teenager somewhere who is wild because of the situation that probably is going round about them in the home, or maybe bad company, or maybe influences. And also speak to a parent who is quote unquote careless, like your dad telling you to go become a prostitute, or do housemaid, or just kuwa chokora. That was very careless of a parent. Okay. And he just left for years. Okay. What if you would have taken the words? What would what would have conspired or happened to you? Just speak to a teenager who is lost, feeling lost, that will come across this show, and also speak to a parent somewhere. Just in your own parting short words.
Okay. So I will maybe start with the parents. This is what I would like to tell our amazing parents, that words are so powerful. And that's when I mean words are so powerful. That's why we had, when God was creating the world, he was using words. Let there be. Let there be. That's the power of words. And sometimes when you alter words to your kids, whether you're calling them mjinga, whether you never make it, wewe ni kama nani, wewe unafanana kama nani, just know that they install those words and they go with them. And in our generation right now, we have a teenage generation that has a very low self-esteem. That's why we have cases in the news of a 15-year-old has committed suicide. Just imagine a 15-year-old, a 13-year-old. And it's all because of, these words that you're telling them. It might look like it's out of your anger, because I understand that broken parents are raising broken children, or broken families are raising broken children. But try as much as possible to filter. There is a way you can correct your child. There is a way you can talk to your child even if they have, angered you to some point, but not by altering words that can make them, go wild, ending up in drugs or running away from home. So please, parents, let's try so much to see a format of how we can be able to caution our children. It's very much important. And to my brothers and sisters out there, maybe you're watching me, you're a teenager, you're a youth, and you're coming from a home whereby you think they will never transform. It's too much for you to take in, and you feel like you want to do the worst thing with your life. Let me tell you that, as I've said before, when you choose God, you choose life. I think that is where that's the best place you can run to. Because myself, I thought that drugs were the best place for my comfort. Having those bad company, they were my comfort zone. But until I came to the light, and I wished I realized that before, then I maybe I would have escaped a lot of things. But it was the way of God, and we told that God's plans are not the ways of man, and all that kind of thing. So if you're there and you feel like you've been rejected, you've been denied, whether it's your biological parents, your step parents, please don't lose hope in life. You know, the sweet thing is that you're still alive. The sweet thing is that God has directed you to this show. It's for you to listen, for you to see where God has brought us from. And it's just like the story of Joseph. You know, his brothers, the brothers sold him thinking that, and sometimes I just love the story of Joseph. Sorry, I'm taking this long, but I just love the story of Joseph because they thought that selling him, it was done.
Yeah.
But do you know, sometimes that situation that you're in, because I love the book of Romans that says, in Romans 8:28, it says that all things work together for good for those who love the Lord. It never said some things, but all things, which means it's both good, bad, ugly, worst. So just in that position that you're in right now in life, whether you're a teenager, you're a youth, you're a mom, you're a dad, you're watching me, just ask God, what is that good thing that is in store for me? If you did it for Joseph, then he can do it for you. If he did it for Abraham, for the Israelites, and every other character in the Bible, for Job, he can do it for you. He's going to restore it. He's going to give you that joy, that peace. You can never find it in friends. You can never find it in money. You will never find it in Dubai. Usiende kulipa vacation at you will never find it there. You'll find all that in God, and everything else will just flow. Everything else will just follow you. His goodness and mercies, joy, everything. So let us learn to trust God in every situation. Let us learn to love on him, because the secret is just loving on him, and everything else will just reveal itself. And maybe the last thing I will say is turn your worries into worship, and God will turn your battles into victory.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yes.
And also to speak to parents, we are living in a very challenging time of raising teenagers, of raising children. Don't leave the responsibility of parenting to anyone, not even to your own mother, whom they call grandma, not even to the teachers. Parenting, God trusted you with that child or with those children, that you do a full-time job. And to all the teenagers that are going through stuff, I believe you can relate with her. We'll be able to share down her contacts running down there, and the contacts of her organization running down there. Also her YouTube, also her Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and all that. And you can be able to inbox her. That thing that is really pressing you, that thing that is really putting you down, that thing that is a burden, that thing that is a secret that is just sucking your energy every day, that thing that has been pushed down your throat by peers, by bad company. You can be able to share it with Damaris. She has been there, and the best thing is that she has been there and come out strong and whole, so she'll be able to speak to you and redirect you in the path of life. And again, I repeat her words, that every other thing amounts up to, if you don't have God in your life, then your life is empty. God is the reason for your being. He's your creator. He began with you, and he should be with you, and he's the one that will end up with you. So from Damaris' story, pick up what you can pick, and just know that there is hope for your tomorrow. As Reverend B. Akama, my husband, usually says, that as long as you are not dead, there is hope for your tomorrow. Do you have a life-transforming story that you'd want us to share? Please contact 0705 899 608, and we'll be able to pick you out, single you out, hear your story, and bring you. Who knows, you may be next on set to be able to share your story with us. Kindly contact us on that number running down your screen, and we believe that your story will be able to touch someone's life and transform them for good. As long as you are not dead, there is hope for your tomorrow. Keep watching SOATV, touching lives with the power of love. This has been Reality Divine Women's Show, where we build a lasting distinction. God bless you. Have a lovely day.